Welcome to COB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharavana Raghavan.
I have this friend, Sudeep, who I kind of basically lost touch with about 15 years ago. And like they show in TV series, right? 15 saal baad. So we met. And when I asked her what she'd been up to, she sent me a Google search link instead of a website or a LinkedIn or a Facebook or anything else. That's when I discovered that she is the person behind the Mumbai Police Twitter handle, and which has been going viral for all the reasons, all the right reasons. And it was refreshing to see a government body talk so. And it was pleasantly surprising that I knew the person who was doing this. So I thought the best way to find out more was not just to meet her in person, but to get her on the show.
Excellent. What a lovely idea, Sharon. And welcome to the show, Sunchika.
Thank you so much.
I hope Sharvana has done a little bit of justice to the introduction when he started with that. I'm hoping that our listeners will get to discover much more about you.
Yeah, and I could just spell my name right for everybody because they would be looking for a wrong Sanchika on Google. But like I sent the link to him, you could send the link to everybody. But for all those people who you can't send the link to, they could look for Sunchika Pandey. I think that should help. This is something I've never done, because it was just that we met after so long, and that is the kind of bond I had with him. I thought that in 15 years also we would not lose the sense of humor that we had between us. So I did something which I do never. I am a very humble person. I never do all that. I don't even share the places if I feature at places. Trust me, I am never going to share this link on myself unless you post in collaboration with me or you kind of tell me that please post. I have not shared any article. My family for the longest time did not know. I was going for a TED talk. I did not tell even my best friend till the last date, but later I told them because they would see me someday. And just recently, my team really lost it on me because I went for an event, which turns out to be a big event. And I did not know it's a big event. Later, I understood it's a big event because a lot of Bollywood celebrities were walking in there. So I knew something big was happening. And my team was very upset that you don't even tell us, why do you have to underestimate what you're doing? We'll be so proud to see you. So please, just understand this really has started on a wrong note. I always like people discovering. Imagine what a loss for him. He had such a wonderful person in his life. All these years, he's not kept track of what he knew. Even when we lost touch, I was doing something really good. So I was not just another average friend of all his friends are great, sorry, but not somebody. I was also doing well. So he should have known that I would be doing something nice in life. So he should have searched. And he knew the correct spelling of my name. He never missed me, just basically that. But
No,
this
that's
is,
okay.
I am just so sorry that it has started like that. But it's an entire team. Initially, I was doing this alone, just one or two of us. But now I have a full-fledged team of youngsters who I think and I feel very guilty of wasting their youth on me. Because otherwise, they would be very hippie, nice, happy people who would be doing anything that they wanted, like any other Bombay child. But right now, before they even start talking or using the word W in front of me, or using two D's together of drinking, driving, all of that. They have to be so conscious in all our conversations because they have all been associated with me on the kind of work that we do. And the positive side for me is that it's very heartening for me to know that everybody in my team is at least 10 to 11 years younger than I am. I am the only senior citizen on my team. And they all have still not lost interest. A lot of times when we were running short of payments because the kind of people we work with are already very, they are not people who are very financially inclined, or they would think that we are going to do big, on big, invest here, invest there, invest in promotions, invest in communication and all of that. There have been so many times that I've not been able to even pay them probably for the longest time. And I remember I wrote a long mail one night because I feel very bad for them. And I did not, I was working out of passion, but I did not want them to just, just because they love me so much or whatever, just stay. I thought they were just staying out of love. But the reply that the next morning, most of them were working remotely. Next morning, I had the entire team in office. And they
Oh,
just come to
nice.
told me that they're not just working out of love for me, but for the cause that we work for. And they were also so passionate about the kind of change that the communication medium that we were setting up was doing to connect so many people to the most difficult offices, and that has kept them together with me. So I think something that we have been doing all these years has been very right. and it has got the most unexpected results in terms for the people that we're working for, or also in terms of the kind of people that have got associated with it, and who have stayed with it. So I think that is the introduction that I want to give to my work, that we have definitely done something really right since 2015, that after one police account in the country, in 2023, today, there's no government official or office that can survive without a social media handle, or which can go without answering people's question on a public platform. So I think that's what I do.
No, no, it's quite remarkable actually. And in fact, while you said it very well yourself, I was just about to comment that it's, I think, an honor also for a lot of those millennials who work with you, because what you've given them is purpose. You've become the medium of that purpose, the purpose the police always had. Possibly you've been able to reinvent the method in which that purpose can reach a lot of people. But we would want to rewind back and possibly start from the very origins and check with you, where did this start from, why this purpose? There are so many other purposes in life that you could have picked. What were you doing before this, and how did you get into it?
I always wanted to be a journalist. I think my teachers, when we went for the first reunion in school, I was very amazed to hear from one of the teachers that Sanchika, since the fifth standard, wanted to be a reporter. I wanted to be a news reader in Doordarshan because in fifth standard, that was the only channel that I was watching. And there was so much news viewing happening in my house. So I used to always think that I will be a news reader in Doordarshan. Fortunately, by the time I grew up, there were so many new opportunities which came up. And I just always wanted to be a reporter and a television reporter. There was no doubt about it. And at one point, I also achieved it. And I got to work with the best news channels in our times. And I was pretty lucky. I'm sure that not everybody gets to live the dream that they have dreamt all their lives. But I was very fortunate to get that opportunity. And also the reason for choosing journalism was not just about being seen on TV. I'm a Bihari. And, I think in Bihar, all of us, Bihari and Krantikari are the words which rhyme. I think in Bihar, we always used to think that when we become a journalist, if you go into journalism, you're a kind of revolutionary. Another word that rhymes with Bihari. But we used to think that we can bring some kind of change around us, and there can be so much that we could do as the fourth pillar of the country, of democracy. So I think there was always this drive because of the kind of upbringing that I had from my parents, the kind of learnings that I got from my two elder sisters. There was always this understanding which my parents, especially my father, my mother gave me all the strength that I have, but my father gave me a lot of clarity. And they both always taught us that whatever we do should be primarily spoke in Hindi. So they said in Janhit and Rashtrahit, which is it should be a larger interest of people, not just me, but people around me. And it should be in the interest of the country. We should do something which is also making the country proud. So this is something that was always kind of put into our heads, and we were working with that mission. I became a journalist, and then I always wanted to be a crime journalist. So while being a general beat reporter, I was always working towards my goal. I knew I want to become a crime report on crime and everything happening around us. And I achieved that goal also because I was working very dedicatedly towards it, and I was very clear that I want to do it.
Why crime reporting though?
Because I think that is one beat in the news arena, if I could say, which directly affects our lives. And it sometimes has some serious consequences to so many people and brings a lot of pain, grief, loss, so many emotions together in any case of crime. And also because I lived, studied, and worked in two different cities. So I had between Ranchi, my hometown, and then Delhi 3 years, and then Bombay 1 year for my postgrad in journalism. I lived in different cities, and I realized one thing, that as a woman, it made so much difference for me if I had the freedom of mobility, if I
Hmm.
had the sense of security, if I was not fearing stepping out of my house after a certain hour in the day, or if I was not being ogled at by some men or not being felt over while I'm just going to study and do nothing wrong. And there were so many things which brought to my understanding that it's so important. The law and order system is so significant in our daily lives. And it's not just for women, I think for everybody living in any certain city, village, anywhere in the country. And I
Hmm.
always understood the significance of the police department. So I think when I did, like I said, I was always working towards a purpose. For me, working was not just getting my income or my salary and getting back home. I had to do something which was helping a couple of people more. And I think the police department looked like people who were truly living this every day. I was just trying to work and get a little bit out of it, but I realized that police, they are never at home. for their families, even on the best of the days when we are out there celebrating, dancing, singing, doing our festivities. They're always on duty most of the times. I used to get so affected because my father did not even remember what's my official name at school, or he would forget my birthday. But the police officials, men or women, they are mostly out even on their children's birthdays. Sometimes they're not even there for their graduation. So many things. They miss out on so many golden moments with their loved ones. And they don't even fear, there's no surety that they're going to come back home, when they go move out, because even in a city like Mumbai, we never expected a 26/11 to happen. And suddenly we just lost so many of them, and none of them were prepared for it. So I think there's so many things I can just keep talking about, beyond just tagging them as people keep, oh, police तो कभी time पर नहीं आती, पैसे खाती है, corrupt है, ये है वो. I think there's so much more to them that I had reasons more to be around them, with them, than be against them or away from them. I've never feared the police department. I have never told my child that, go to sleep, otherwise police wale uncle ko bulayenge. Never. I've never said this to her. I always tell her, and she knows that. For the longest time when she was a child, she used to think I work in the police department. If somebody asked her, what does your mother do? She would say, Mummy, police. I used to be very happy. I did not clear that if it was somebody distant, was just passerby kind. I would not even clear that doubt. But I used to always make her feel and understand that they do something so important, and they have so much to do. So I think that's why I was I really wanted to people to know what's happening around them, what are the threats in the place that they live, or what is the luxury of safety that they have got, just because there's a great team of men and women around them watching over everything that could go against them, and they could happily sit at home and be at peace. So all these things I found very inspiring about the policemen. And over a period of time, I've realized that every government office is serving people in some way or the other, which is extraordinary. And the more you know about them, the lesser you will kind of regret having them around or wishing them ये तो नहीं होते तो बेहतर होता. It's easier said than done. One day the police department goes on a strike, and then you'll know what I mean. So just that, any public servant going on a chutti just for a day, the whole thing will come to a standstill. So no tall claims as a civilian, but we should be aware that how significant they are.
No,
Right.
surely.
Oh yeah, but I did not complete the story of how from journalism, why I became a journalist and a crime journalist. I've finished, but eventually, I think at one point of time, while I was in the news field, I got an opportunity to work on a show called Satyamev Jayate, which was
Amir
a show
Khan's one.
hosted by Mr. Amir Khan, and which was on social causes. And I had seen the first season of Satyamev Jayate, and I'd seen some of my friends had also worked on it, and I'd seen the kind of extraordinary research that they had done and the kind of issues that I brought in. And I think this is, I think, around 8 to 9 years when I was already in journalism. And I think, very honestly, I could see that, it was going downhill, or the Krantikari motive that had come from was kind of at threat at that point of time. So obviously, I was having a couple of thoughts about it at that point of time. But I took that though it was just a 6 months project, and I was warned about it by the showmakers themselves, and they said that, are you really sure that you want to come for this, because this is just a 6 months project. It was for the second and third season of the show, and Swati Chakravarti, who eventually became my head for field research, she had warned me about it. But like I had felt for journalism, I felt for Satyamev Jayate also that this is a show which is doing some great service. And these are
Wow.
stories that you really want to know yourself, and that you really want for more and more people to know about. And that's why I joined the show. It was a great show. I worked so well there in terms of the experience that I got there. So it was a very satisfying experience. So satisfying that after the show ended, I did not know what to do, because I realized, oh my God, this country is in such a bad shape. What the hell is happening around us? How are we going to ever solve it? Is just one news piece going to solve it? Is just one show going to solve this? So the deeper you get into the problems that are there in the country, the more you realize that no matter what we are doing, you'll never feel that this is enough, because there's so much to solve even now. But I think beyond and above everything, the only way to solve this is to talk more about these things, to read more about these things, to write more about it. It's basically communication. Something
Right.
which is common in everything I did till date. I think communication is the key. And I realized that the more we spread messages like this, sooner or later, that is only going to be the solution, no matter what the medium. Earlier, it was just radio, then there was television, then there was newspaper, there was television. No matter what the medium of communication, I think that is always going to be the key to bring about a change. So I got an opportunity to shift to another medium of communication at that time, again through a friend, Shilpi, who was working for a social media. No, she was working in some capacity as a social media manager, and she told me that why don't you do the social media content for Satyamev Jayate, because you were on the show, you know the ethics of it, the essence of it. And at that time I had a Twitter account also and I had Facebook also. We did not have Instagram at that time. I had both, but I did not even use like DNA, the newspaper where I worked last as a news person. They also had made a Twitter handle for us, and none of the reporters used it well because we used to think, yeah, additional काम है, who's going to use Twitter? Little did I know that one day I'll be known as a Twitter madam in the country after I worked for the police department. But I think something or the other was leading me to this. And she said, you don't have to worry, it's just like writing news headlines and all of that. You come, she said, I'm sure you can do it because you know content you write and all that, you can do it. That was the first very unsure decision, like a career move that I had taken. But I was very sure that only news was not going to satisfy me anymore. I was really looking for something more in depth than that. Then when I worked on the show Satyamev Jayate, I understood the power of social media. And this was the year, even before when we won an election only on the basis of the digital communication that happened. This was even a year or two before that. But every message that we put there, because we worked on some very serious issues. I was working on the police reforms episode. That is where I knew more about, the personal life of cops and what are the sufferings and what are the things that are held up on them, because of which their working becomes so much more complicated. So I was working on that episode. I worked on the LGBTQ episode at that time, and I assisted a little bit or more on the other episodes like rape and other things that were covered on the show. And so whenever we put one message on social, we did not just get response or an offer to support, an offer to help, or emotions of people from just one or two cities, or just somewhere some other state in the country. We were getting support from across the world. And within seconds, it did not take an entire night to print a newspaper to bring that notice to that news to some person's notice, or we did not have to wait for a news channel to come and cover it and then tell people that this is happening. It was an independent platform which was not which was global and which was reaching everybody in real time. So the power of real time communication seemed to be very, very powerful. And that's when I understood that this is it. This is something which is going to become big. After Satyamev Jayate got over, I of course got our show content went on very well. It reached out to many people and there was so much awareness that was created about it. But after Satyamev Jayate, the show content went on for about a year and a half. But after that got over, I of course got a promotion also, and I was made the project content head for all the that respective channel accounts that the social media agency had. And then I was working on corporate accounts, and that content was also great. But I think once a journalist, always a journalist. And when it is such a mad is not the word, but when it is like I don't even know other word like mad, but I must say that the other mad
Mad is fine.
journalist like me who is just, I was feeling so because I was doing good content which was for corporate, but then my neighbor was not getting helped by it, nor were any of my friends, nor anybody else in the city. I could only guide them on what is the right product to get and all of that, but it was a little less fulfilling. And that's only me. That content is also great content. That is very important. It must be done. But I was not the person for it. I would not be able to do justice to it. So then I saw Bangalore Police on Twitter one day, and I just saw that Bangalore Police, the CP at that time, I think had about 40 to 50,000 followers. And I thought, oh my God, the commissioner has got so many followers. What is he doing? What's going on here? And they were only giving traffic updates. They were not doing anything creative. There were no great images being made. There was no great campaign that was being driven. They were only telling people that there's traffic on this road, there's traffic on that road, you take that route, there's an accident here. And people were thrilled with that. And then people there were also talking to them. I don't think Bangalore Police at that time was also interactive, or they were responding to people. But then I saw one police department there, and then I thought, oh my God, Mumbai Police is great, and the city is so wonderful. The people are so, it's a cosmopolitan city, and the people are so good here. Then I thought, and of course, I'd worked for crime beat for about 8 to 9 years by then. And I, of course, knew a lot of cops, and thankfully, they had a better reputation of me than most of the people in my life. They liked the way I conducted myself at my work. And I went and met them because I think I met them at the right time and place. I told them that I saw Bangalore Police on Twitter, and why can't Mumbai Police come on Twitter? Because they anyways tried to keep in touch with people through so many mediums, through newspapers, press conferences, radio announcements, television reporters, all of that. So this was another medium which was so huge and so far-reaching. So I said, I think it's a good idea to be on this platform, and I have a bit of idea on how this works, and I would be very happy to support. And then I think they told me that they were just about considering exploring this space, and they got very happy because I was somebody they knew, and they knew that my intent was honest, and that's how we got started. But they expressed a very genuine concern, and they said that not everybody loves us as much as you love us, and irrespective of me having a not a love hate relationship during the journalism days, because I would run after them for stories, they would not give stories, I would do negative stories also about them a couple of times, but in general we understood each other as human beings and person, and we were on good terms more or less. And they said that not everybody loves us or understands us as much as you do, and if we go on a public platform, there is a very strong chance that most of the people will be there to take vent out their anger or abuse us. We can't even see them. We don't even know who they are. They can just sit anywhere. And then we have to do a long search on who this person is, where is this coming from. So that is additional work that
Work.
is coming on the department. So they said that we have to come very prepared on the platform. They never said no. But we all in this discussion, it was understood that they have to come prepared for this platform. So a lot of research went in it. I'll not speak too much on that, but a lot of research was done. They wanted to come thoroughly prepared because the intent was to help people connect with more citizens, get information from them, give information to them, get their help, give help. It had to be a two-way relationship, like it's been there always. So after a lot of research, we understood, did a lot of analysis, and we understood that there were not many positive comments, but there were not very negative comments also. They were more neutral, and people were mostly debating amongst themselves and talking to each other and coming to a conclusion about anything good or bad about the police. And since there was no intervening authoritative agency there who could tell them that what was the reality of the matter that they were discussing, mostly it was just by just public conversations that they were coming to a conclusion. That's when we just kind of pointed out that if somebody in authority could come and tell them this is right and this is not, and this is what really happened and this is rumor and this is fact, it will at least bring up some more healthier conversations, realistic discussions, and a lot of doubts and confusions could be warded off. So after all of this discussion, everything happened, and we came very close to the launch date and all of that. And then the final discussion was happening where all the senior officers were sitting, and me and Amin and Ritvik, I remember, were the two boys from the agency that I was working at that time. I had actually quit that agency by the time this launched. Between our discussion to the launch date, one commissioner had also changed. I had also changed my job. But when I joined the next job, I told them that I am also pursuing this. If this works out, then I'm 100% going to work for the police department. And I told them I'll not take any money from them. So it's no commercial engagement that I'm going to do with them. I'm going to work for them. But because I said it's my baby, I can't leave it midway. And I, of course, was thinking no one else can do it without me. So in that high-headedness and that, craziness that I have to do this for the cops, I had continued doing that. So then they said, what should we do? How should the biggest discussion was that how do we launch? What can be the first communication, what first piece of communication, the first impression, last impression kinds. And when such a big police department, and such a reputed one is coming on social, they had to come with a bang. It could not have been just, okay, now Mumbai Police is on Twitter. So, and if we just came like that, then what was the point of me being there, or any creative agency working for them, और दे हायरिंग अस देन ये तो हम लोग भी बोल सकते हैं कि हाँ अब सोशल मीडिया पर हैं, आप आइए बात कीजिए, ऑफ कोर्स इन मराठी. But then somebody, I think in that, now I don't even remember who had brought this up. Remember that the commissioner had called one of his advertising friends who had said it's a great idea, and he had also told him the first few lines of communication. But somebody said that what if we do something unexpected on social media, and what if the police can make people smile? So everybody in the room laughed aloud at that thought. But everybody understood, yeah, that's a great thought. What if we can make, because people mostly fear police. There's no
Right.
dislike of all, mostly people fear them. Never got close to them, never found out much about them. So of course they feared them. They thought that they are a little intimidating and all of that. So we thought that was a great idea. So that is the day and time when that decision was taken, that this has to be a handle which is very friendly, which feels as if it's welcoming citizens to come and have a conversation with them. No no threatening or compelling that you have to be there, but understand that we are here for you and you're most welcome to come and interact with us. And then we decided on how the use of humor has to be. We call it the responsible humor now. That you have to be very. We could not have used just any kind of comic elements there. We had to. It had to be more of satire, or it had to be something very smart, so that it conveys the message, but it does not disrespect anyone. It does not cross the line. The department, over and above everything, is very reputed. Uniform services are so respected and revered we had to keep up that reputation and all of everything. So very carefully we decided what kind of communication will
How
be
do you draw
done.
the
What
line, Sanchika?
I just want to say that I'm very smart. I know what to do.
No, I'm trying to
No,
get a
no,
little
but it was
deeper here
not that
because
in that was just this is the humor we do on Twitter and social media and all of that. These are the kind of jokes we crack and we just try and act we have innocently said it, but we have an intention behind it. But
right,
we, of course, it is done with a lot of guidance. And the most important thing is that nothing goes on the. A lot of times we try to take some liberties and the cops kind of remind us that they are the bosses. And then we immediately go a level down and we tell them, Acha, we understood what you said, but all of it is done after a lot of discussion. Like every day the piece of content that since 2015 December 28 till now, whatever piece of content that you see on any of the social media accounts we do, because we did a lot, but Mumbai Police is a good case study to work with because that's where all started. Everything happens after the approval of the single point of contact, as we call them, that we have
right,
from the department. We also have groups with them where we also have officials of every rank and of every order. So from constables till the commissioner, we have access to everybody on WhatsApp. And for as long as we can manage it with the DCP, who is the approval person for us, everything is okay. But if something gets a little more serious, then we need the joint CP sometime, we need the CP sometime. And everybody is very readily available for times like this. Like if it's raining very heavily or if there's some kind of crisis, some mishap happens in the country, everybody's together there and nothing goes without their approval. They also participate very actively in writing of the content or picking the content. If they watch something, if they read something, if they remember something that is nice, they will come and tell us. Their English is so much better than ours. They have a great command on the language. They have great command on grammar. Sometimes they would point out our mistakes, which made us feel miserable about ourselves. All of that happened. And sometimes they would write lines which would just blow our minds. And we would be like, okay, now there's competition in the department. So a lot has happened. It has been so much fun and such great learnings working with them. But there are people who are there to tell us what can be done, what can't be done. Sometimes we also persuade them, and they have given us, it's our good fortune that they have also given us a chance to openly tell them that, sir or ma'am, if you're saying no to this is the reason why you should kind of go ahead with it. Or sometimes when they tell us to do something, we say, okay, can we please avoid this? Can we tone this down? It's a very healthy work relationship that we've had with them, which you will not even find in the corporate world. I mean, I have tried reading a little bit in that on that side. I also after so many years, but I think there's so much more respect and recognition of your work with people in the public serving offices because they know this is not an easy thing to do and it needs so much effort and all of that. So it's been a very good working relationship with them. I think there's been learning on both the sides. And I think it's a win-win situation on both the sides, more for us because we are all shining in their glory. I think it's because of them that we are here.
So, if we have to ask, and again, I'm drawing marketing parallels in whatever you are saying, Sanchika. First of all, your own journey. If I picture you as a startup, you found a great reason or the vision for which you were living. You found your product market fit a multiple number of times, and you've
Yeah.
explored all sorts of channels. So, all startup owners can honestly learn from you.
I'm so
Uh,
glad my
the
team is
word
not
that
here. They hate me because I am a horrible businesswoman. In this, I may fall short, but you ask what you're asking. I hope I can answer
No,
that.
so business is not all about conducting commercial transactions. Yeah, it's about
Thankfully.
creating value.
Yeah.
So which you are. So,
Yeah.
but I wanted to specifically ask about brand personality. You spoke about responsible humor, right? Now, obviously, everybody has their own perception of responsible humor. Like you said, CPs change, joint CPs change, etc., etc. Possibly, you and your team are the only constant there, right?
Mm.
Are there others who also act as a constant? How do you maintain this consistent definition of responsible humor?
I'll add to that a little bit
Yeah.
to say in marketing, what happens is the agency kind of maintains constants and the brand managers change. And the brand managers usually change, say, every 2 or 3 years at least. Now, when that happens, the agency kind of holds fort of what the brand stands for. Now, in your case, what the brand stands for is usually defined by the person sitting in the chair. So, how do you maintain a sense of continuity when that happens?
I think this problem was solved, and that's where the 6 month research and discussion and debates in going putting that first post went. I think that is
Wow.
where all our problems were solved for a lifetime. till the time we are going to be on social, this problem was never going to arise for us, because we decided that this is going to be the personality of Mumbai Police on social media. And we have not just maintained that over the years, but we have also lived up to what we had tried to build, and we have also upscaled it. But the basic
Nice.
tone and motive has not changed, because as a police department, how much could change in their motive, apart from them trying to connect with people in terms of maintaining their reputation with people, or keeping in touch with them, or kind of communicating the same messages to them over the years. Because how many kinds of crime can you think? A little bit has evolved in terms of cyber crime and all of that, but mostly our messaging has been the same, and the purpose of the police has also been the same. So once we built that personality for Mumbai Police, where we knew that they are, when people go to their social media profiles, they will also have something to which will be worth sharing with your friends, apart from the daily discussions about what's happening in the city, where's traffic, where's no traffic, what were the major crimes that happened in the last week, and all of that. People understood that on Mumbai Police social media, you'll always get something which will humor you as much as any other social media account on the platform would do. So I think that once that personality clarity came, of course there have been different kinds of people coming in position and power in the department, but they all have always come with the intent that, okay, this is, they all always said, the first meeting, so many commissioners I met for the first time, they would just say that we have heard so much about your work, and you have done a remarkable job, and Mumbai Police account is so popular. So once you have created that reputation, nobody who understands the importance of this platform would want to pull anything out of that
You
domain,
establish
right?
credibility beforehand for them to even
Yeah,
have an
bilkul.
opinion beyond that.
They understood, and we kind of maintained that, like, doing it without any errors, without any stupidity on social media for so many years is definitely, I think, worth earning the kind of credibility that we have got from them. And I think what has helped us is that we have never been very hasty. Like, it's very tempting. And if I got so many views, we, I think, went to 1 million within, I think, even a month, because the kind of launch that they had got, everybody, there was, of course, an advantage because this is a city of celebrities, right? So once they found out the police department is there, whether out of fear or their respect for them at that point of time, once the police department said that, okay, we are on Twitter, why don't you talk about it? Everybody spoke about it. So that worked in their interest also, because the message spread very soon. So I think this
Hmm.
kind of credibility has helped us, people who kept coming and going, I think it helped us convince them that, we will live up to what is going on. And this is very significant. We can't in fact, we have now added Instagram to the Mumbai Police social media presence. We never pushed them or told them that you have to be everywhere. We just understood that during COVID times, there was so much gloom and there was so much happening around. And we saw that a lot of youngsters were not shifting to a particular platform. So just by that understanding, we also added just one platform. We have never told them that come on a third, fourth, fifth, because, and there's a lot of clarity even in this, in two platforms. Everybody on Instagram who follows Mumbai Police knows that all your real time conversations are going to happen only on Twitter. On Twitter, people know that we can reach the right police station, right person. My message can reach sooner, but this is not an FIR. So we did a lot of educating people about, the platform's purpose, how to use it, did not let the police department come in a burden that, okay, we'll also take complaints on Instagram, because once people start talking there, you kind of, you'll be crazy monitoring them and finding that reply. So we did all these little, micromanagements for them, and we kept it very convenient for them. So I think we are just ensuring that they don't get inconvenience, and their burden on of manpower should not increase. I must mention here that since last so many years, we are not the people sitting and 24 hours monitoring the police handles. We did not do it for even Uttar Pradesh Police, or we did not do it for West Bengal Police as much. We did not do it for the Pune City, Thane City, all the police departments, or the BMC, or the various municipal corporations and other ministerial handles that we work for. We, after a point of time, we started training people, because as pompous as I sound, I know that this is something that this is not mine, it is theirs. And I have to have that understanding. And I'm always more than happy, even when I think some police department came to us and they just wanted us to handhold them for a day or two and just tell their team what to do. We only do as much as they ask us to do. We never go and tell them ki we will do this also, we'll do that also. We just understand what they want us to do, and we never go with an intention ki ye account bhi close karna hai. That is not our intention. We are not closing accounts. We are just helping them reach out to more and more people. So we have been training them. So now all the police department handles Mumbai Police or any other government police serving office or any public serving office, they all have their teams who are sitting closely and monitoring and understanding. All the responses are also being done by them. We help them in a bit of creative writing. If some tough responses come up, if there's something getting a little ugly on social, and they know the answer, but we know how to say that answer, which will have the maximum impact. And that is the only way that we can justify the value of our presence in their lives now, because I think over the period of time, everybody now knows how to use social media. They know the advantages of it, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And the day they want, they can put all of us aside and they will do the work by themselves. I have that confidence, and I take a lot of pride that we have prepared many, many departments in doing that. In fact,
Lovely.
we have also done training for the diplomats who are going out of the country at the Foreign Services Institute in Delhi. There are so many seminars and so many conversations we have done with all the new recruits. And over a period of time now, all the young IAS, IPS officers coming on board are much younger than even I am. So I may have started it, but they are right now the number of individual IAS, IPS officers, public serving officers, individuals handles that you'll see on Insta or on all social media platforms will be amazing. Earlier, the officials did not want to come personally at all, but now look at those numbers. I think, which is a great thing. This is what we were trying to reach to, and people are reaching out to them on social and even learning about how to crack UPSC. It has reached to that level. So I'm just trying to say that we started something which is progressing so well, and there can't be anything more heartening than this. And
Right.
social media as a platform, or digital as a platform, is so dynamic. Then I think we'll always have something new to learn and offer to the people coming and working on this.
Sanchika, you touched upon a very, very important point, and a lot of our audience work at creative agencies, right? The aspect of pitching, you said, I don't go there to win an account.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that account? So I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. A lot of the agencies spend nights and sleepless nights on preparing pitches for accounts. And when they eventually make the pitch, the client, a lot of the times, takes the idea, says, we had something very close to this, is what they normally say. And then they give it to the cheapest agency, but they steal all the ideas that are there in the pitch. So a lot of agencies are left heartburnt because of the pitches they do, and they don't necessarily get the fruits of it. What do you say to a creative agency? I know it's aside from the main conversation we're having. To say, how should they approach a pitch?
I don't know how to explain this, but I think we have just imbibed some great values from all these public servants. That I don't like using the word public servants, but public serving people that we work with. I think we have imbibed a great quality from them is of selfless working, and never losing faith in your own talent and value, because they all live with these insecurities. I know, and their lives are so much tougher. With every changing day, their entire professional graph can change. But I've never seen them worry about it. They just keep working. They just keep doing that. And when you're talking about when people go pitch and their pitches are kept and they are being been done by other people, I must tell you that in the beginning days also on Mumbai Police account also, we would see that when other police departments started coming on social, so many times we saw that an entire creative done by us for Mumbai Police, it was by some people, they would put another police logo and they would put on their social the same message. They would not even change the text because they were cops doing it and all that, or I don't know who was doing it for them. And some of them would not even change the logo and they would just post it. This was how ignorant, that circle was at that time. Of course, it has got better now and they're all creating original content. But when we would point it out, I still remember to a joint commissioner at that time, I said, sir, the same creative dal diya. What do we do with that? He said, but that's the purpose. Now you want more and more people to know about how the police works. And if they've got help from us, then what? He said, Mumbai Police has nothing to lose. Our work is done here. Our people have seen it. I said, it's a good thing. So that's the day when I learned that I learned in the sense, like, I also realized that this is what I wanted to do, that more and more people get access to police department on a platform where it's easy for them to communicate with them. And since that day, we have never worried about it. If you see any social media content on any of such accounts, they're all cracking similar kind of jokes. They're doing all similar kind of, one trend is being caught upon by everyone. And it's like everybody is doing the same thing. Again, I'm a very humble person. I'm not trying to show up and all that. But I know that we started this with the help of Mumbai Police. And we are as satisfied and calm as the police department right now that nobody can take this away from us that we were the pioneers. So I think with that peace and with that fearlessness of losing our value, or there's no insecurity as such. We are still, I mean, we have worked for so many police departments, and I take so much pride in my team for this. That while at one point of time we were working for about 7 police departments at the same time, and we were a very small team. I'm still a very small team. I have hardly 10-15 people on my team, but the volume of work that we have done over through COVID, before and after it, is humongous. But that's not a problem, anyways. But we have never. The thing that I was saying, that I take a lot of pride in the fact is that my team has never repeated even one piece of content from one account to the other account. It's a
Wow.
strict mandate that we can't take any idea from one account to the other, and we can't treat any account bigger or smaller than the other. We will do the same post for 5 police departments, and they'll be equally good. We know that one is getting a huge number because it's a big city, popular police department account and all of that. The other one is just catching up. There are not so many people on social in that city. So we work with all this understanding and clarity. There's no lack of clarity in what we are doing. And I think if in the last 6 years, if my team had gone up and, kind of applied for all these awards that I see in so many social media agencies, when I enter, they have this huge thing as soon as you enter their office, and all the awards. And then I look at it and I really feel bad for my team, because I got 140 under 40. I think that also because somebody else pitched me, because I would not go for it. And that happened. But we have never done that. I know that would have got so many accounts. Any campaign that we have done has been such a super hit. We would have won award for so many things. But I'm just repeating myself when I say that we were working for a different purpose and it has been beautifully met. The problem is that in the corporate world, it's of course very different, because there it's really a cutthroat competition of sorts, and that purpose is also different. So I cannot equate what we are doing to the things that they are doing, because for them it's really a matter of profit and loss. For us, it's just that what we are doing is, there's no money that's going to come to us if one post does much better. It's not that we are going to get more money on it, and the police department is definitely not earning out of it, right? So that money aspect is out, and I think that is a big reason that we work with so much security. But I know so many of our friends are working in the corporate sector, and I know it is very, very crucial. I think they should follow, and it's very unfair on part of, because I heard this story just 2 days back from somebody that they presented a great pitch, which they really went to another more reasonable agency for them, and they use the same concept, and it really, as a creative person, I would also feel so heartbroken with it. But I just think that we have to kind of create some very strong protocols for this. There has to be, some kind of agreement that is signed before any pitch that is presented. But I think a lot of agencies now practice this, and they will not give a proper pitch till the time you have given in written that, okay, we understand that there's a, kind of patent thing is done, and they know that, okay, this is ours, and you can't use it anywhere else, and all of that is happening, right? So I think these are some practices that they should take another, because for these things you can't even immediately go to the police and say कि मेरा pitch चुरा लिया. वो solve करते करते it's more of a civil
We
case.
can't reach out to Sanchika for that.
I am not a cop anyways. I can
They
tell you
can
which
tag
police
Mumbai
station to go
Police.
to. Yeah, you can tag the Mumbai police. They'll tell you which police station to go to.
Correct.
But trust me, this does not end at the police station, because after the police station has done its work, it goes to the court of law, where there are so many pending cases that by the time you get that account back, the trend would have also changed. Your pitch is a waste. So, in such a
Right.
dynamic platform, you can't have such ambitious kind of aspirational thing. But I think that there has to be, I don't know how much of it is being done or not done, but there have to be some guidelines that have to be drawn. And be confident of your work. If you know you have done something which is extraordinary and which could be very tempting for people, you know how it's so tempting to steal a good creative idea. We all know that. It's very tough to resist. So there has to be some rules and regulations. There have to be some guidelines. There have to be, you have to put your foot for foot forth. It's correct. I'm
Put your foot down.
getting
Yeah.
confused. Yeah, no, I don't want to put foot down, but I would say put your foot forth. And you tell people that we will need to believe you before we start working for you. So I think
Right.
these terms and conditions will have to be followed, because it is very, very sad the way people function, but this is not going to change soon. So we should be very
Sure.
careful about who we are working with and what we are working for.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought I wanted to ask you, Sanchita, the kind of work that you do, there are times where there will be some kind of a crisis. And when I talk about
Always.
crisis, always, so quite a lot of times you are dousing fires, as if I
Oh.
call it. Yeah. So rather than giving us examples, if you can possibly lay out some principles that you follow to make sure that a crisis can be handled very well with everybody's reputation intact, not losing your brand personality, etc. What are the principles that you use? Something that possibly every brand can if a crisis arises.
I think I have a very clear demarcation in my team in terms of who is doing what, and in terms of this firefighting space where it reaches, that is where I step in. I have made sure always that I keep my team covered from kind of getting flack on something, or they being pulled up for something or whatever. I think there's a bit of clarity on who is doing what in the team. But in terms of the people we are working with, it is very important that we have some clear understanding with somebody who we are reporting to. And sometimes when we know that this person could be problematic, we always know that who's the second best person who we need to go to, and we always keep that person also informed, and we always keep a record of who said what to us. And that's why I said we do nothing without approving authorities permissions, because if I do something out of my whim and fancy, they can always come back and say, how could you put this? And I would never have an answer to that. And there could be a possibility that as a layman I would think that this is okay to say to a person, and I would have said it on social media, but it was actually the police department's reputation at stake. That is why when Sharan just mentioned to me and he said that we can just call Sanchika. I said, I am not the cop. I will guide you on which cop to go to. So we know our role very rightly. We never think that this is our account, and this is not something that we own. We should know that we are responsible for somebody else's work. And that other person we have to be always in touch with. We should keep them informed. We should keep them updated. There should always be a written communication. There should always be a recorded communication, or there should always be a clear guideline of this is how we are proceeding with the work. Always take approvals, get it on written with them. If they are so tough to work with, you should work harder on the pre-production work than the post-production or during production work. I always say the more you work hard before starting something, the lesser your problems, are when you are working on it. That's why I said my problem of maintaining this kind of reputation, all of that was solved on first day, when I spent 6 months and did not start the police account till the time we were very sure that we are ready for everything that's coming our way. So I think pre-planning is very important. Give it that time. If it's getting delayed by a day or two, if it's getting delayed by a week, but if it is worth another 10 years of relationship, you might as well give it some time. Because once you are out there, it's very difficult to kind of step back from there. Then you'll have to face what's coming your way. So that is one thing we always follow, and we always explain to everybody we work with that let's give this some time and we'll work on it. And we always keep everything very transparent, because we know that we are working very honestly. Honesty is primary. We have to be very honest at whatever we are doing. We may think we can act smart, we can trick people. It has come back to the biggest of the people and the biggest of the names. Sooner or later you will face it. So I think honesty is very important. This is something that I have learned, and I work with great honesty, and I keep all my ethics intact, and my entire team is like that. I think we all agree on this together.
So on this one specifically, because you spoke about honesty and
Yeah.
being authentic, etc., has there ever been an instance where Mumbai Police handle had to retract something or apologize for something?
The only thing that they have apologized for in the last few years, and I hope I'm not jinxing whatever word that is. I can't even say right now. I'm missing words. But I think the only thing that they've had to say sorry for is if somebody has had a really bad experience emotionally, or had some great lost somebody, trying to get some kind of justice but not being able to reach the right person, or sometimes they went to a place where some police person did not treat them right. I think the Mumbai Police or any other department, any other office that we have worked for in so many years, I
Yeah,
must admit that they have always been very forthcoming to the importance of the very basic please, sorries, and thank yous. And we have given them these suggestions that this is the place where we can request people. This is where we must kind of apologize to people, and this is where we must express our gratitude for how good they have been for the department that we are working for. So I think the please,
sure,
sorries, and thank yous, I think in our work culture also, it's going to be very, very significant. It works for anybody working anywhere. That
sure.
we should just not remember these basic principles. I think we are completely forgetting it. So police department, they've been so nice. They did the basic, but a lot of people would not even do it, right? But they immediately agreed to any sad incident that has
Sure.
come up. They've immediately gone and said sorry, and they've said that we
Okay.
will look into it and we are telling the right person about it. When you tell somebody you are working with that, okay, I know this has gone wrong, This is not your fault, this is our fault, but we'll work on this and we'll solve it. And the most important thing is that once you've solved it, you also again go back to that person and you update that person that this has been resolved. You don't leave that loop open. It's very important to close that loop. And also, when you are on the public platform, if that allegation has come on a public platform, it becomes all the more important for you to go back and close that loop on the public platform so that the people know that this is done.
Close
In
now.
spite of
Yeah.
that, a lot of times you'll see that the negative conversation keeps going on, but because the people like clinging on to the bad news, or where people are getting like unki badnami ho rahi, they enjoy that so much more. But it's we have finished our work, so I think that's where it ends, and that is how we have been working, and
No, I
I think
like
that
this.
absolutely works well.
No, I like this a lot. In fact, Sharon and I had done an episode on PR crisis some time back,
Hmm.
where a lot of brands have faced PR crisis. We spoke about being authentic in that particular episode as well. What I'm learning from you is, one, you spoke about, always going to the right authority, getting the right people involved. And then you also spoke about the fact that, whoever has reached out to you on whatever platform, always loop back, put a closure there, and make sure
Mm,
that everybody sees that you've been able to go back to it.
mm,
And even if it means apologizing or updating them on what has happened on the matter. So
mm.
good. I think those
And
are some great points
no,
applicable to
I'd
any
like to
brand out there.
add on to exactly. Any brand should take this. And one thing I notice a lot about brands and businesses these days is to hide or at least not have a customer care center. Most of the brands cut costs by not having a customer support or customer care or complaints department, or make it as difficult to access as possible. And
Mm.
you have done this. I mean, I'd say what you're doing on Twitter is pretty much customer support for a department which can only have complaints and very rarely have
Yeah.
plaudits. So, what, according to you, Sanchika, is online reputation management, and how important is it for businesses and organizations in general?
It's most important, and I don't know how any of them are even considering shutting their customer care. Who are you working for? I mean, you are of course working for money, but who is it coming from?
Investors, they rather spend the money on valuations.
Whatever, I think that's the worst idea ever, because no matter what, someday or the other, they will lose everybody that they have on board for them, from where they're getting their money, from where they're getting their living and everything. What could go wrong in just having a conversation with somebody who really needs help from you, or who only you could help, and who you have kind of invited to be a part of your system? You have gone, begged, pleaded them to come take your services, and then you just suddenly they start taking your service and it's rubbish, and then you don't go back and correct that. So I think it just sounds so confusing in the head just by the mention of it. I think that's an absolutely bad idea. And I think any of the accounts like this which kind of decided, oh, we are going to stop the comments, we'll log the comments, or we'll choose who'll talk, who'll not talk, we'll block people. I think at least in the handles that we have been managing, we have always told people that the maximum that you can do is you can mute, because there's some really troublemaking elements there, yeah? Right? So we told them that we can only mute them, and even if they were muted, they were again unmuted a couple of weeks later, because at least for the police departments, I just want to give this example that we were clearly told that we can't even block any criminal that time who may be out, maybe because is out on a
Wow.
bail or has a conversation, because maybe he was of course an antisocial element, but the court was taking care of that. It's not our work to sit and judge there on social and decide, "Arey, ye to, he's a criminal, why listen to him?" But it could be possible that someday that criminal really needed the help of police. That night, it is the police's work to go and help that person, because he's also a citizen who's right now not convicted. He's out. There is a case going on, but there's no order on it. I mean, till he's innocent till proven guilty. So I think these are such small learnings, and that's why I think working here has made me so much clearer on what are the things that we are supposed to do in our day-to-day lives. So I think if you had to take one suggestion for any person working to serve people, any kind of service you're providing, I think it's so important to be in touch. And if you ignore them in one platform, we are so open right now that you can't run away from that individual or person. There's no,
True.
they will find you somewhere. You'll run away from one place, they'll find you on the other. There's so many ways to kind of nail you down. So I think you kind of nip it in the bud. Most of the times people just need that first response. When they just want to know that somebody is listening to me, then they'll wait for you even for 10 days. One thing which I want to point out here is, which has been our learning and which I always tell, we do a lot of trainings all across to whichever offices we go and work with, because the people change and they keep changing, and we have to always go and train them, and we tell them. And we also always kind of tell them that we should don't promise them the moon, just tell them the truth. When I said honesty, I should have also mentioned truth in that, because both are similar but not the same. But I think truth is so important. I always told them that if there's a case which is going to take 10 days, don't tell them that we have informed the office, you'll know by tomorrow. I said, give them a clear timeline. If it is going to take 4 more years, tell them that this will take 4 more years. Because the next time they can't come and tell you that we told you yesterday, why aren't you telling us today? You could tell him tomorrow, him or her tomorrow, that we told you yesterday that this will take 4 years. So you have to come back to us after 4 years. You can't come before that. So ignoring them totally is not the solution. You just tell them the facts. If you can't solve it, just say sorry. Say that, okay, this is, we cannot do it. Maybe you just, anyways, he's going to stop using your service because you're not responding. You just say if you're not satisfied, you could move on. I don't know. Everybody gets the chance. But I just think you should tell the truth and you give the correct timelines. I think all of this helps so much. This has helped so much in whatever work, in even forget the police department. We work for the municipal corporation for so long. In BMC, their problems are very, very serious, right? Their problems are very, very serious. And the ward officers had such a tough time answering that, because, these are things which are affecting your daily household. But if there's a pipeline being repaired somewhere, which is going to get repaired only in 3 days, and it is being repaired for the advantage of citizens living around it, because once that is repaired, your problem is solved for 5 days. So these 2 days, we are sending you tankers. You take that water, you use it. But this pipeline is going to take, about a week to repair. So there will be less water. So you fill your buckets and keep. Just educate them. Tell them what can solve the problem, because there's nothing that cannot be solved. Even for, I think, any equipment, any electronic, anything, I don't think there's a problem you can't solve. It's just the time that it takes. It's just the kind of effort that it takes, or the elements that it takes. These things can differ. I don't believe there's a problem that can't be solved. So it's just these little things which I think everybody can use. Ab koi pipeline banana wala, I'm sure is not in your audience. But I'm telling you what are the things which can solve problems. You have to talk to them, tell them what is happening.
I mean, I asked you about online reputation management, and you said you spoke more about just reputation management. I think that's pretty much the answer, right? It's reputation no matter where you are.
Online also, you have a person on the other
Exactly.
side. It's a human. Machine is the connecting medium. It's a mediator, but it is two humans talking. I don't know, after AI and all that, all it's a different thing. But I'm just saying that you are still talking to a person, and they will immediately melt the moment they know that you are genuine in your concern. And that genuineness can also be manufactured. I will draft a reply which will melt anybody's heart. We have done that
Wow.
so many times. That's why we write responses. We tell things to people which they can't beat. You have to, what are the creative people for? What are writers for? Get great writers. What are the lyricists doing? What are the creative writers doing? They're all, why do we love music so much? Of course, because of the instrument, but the song, our lyrics is also so important. Why do we like stories so much? It's just,
Yeah.
like I said, communication is the key in no matter what
Just to
medium,
give
in
you a
what format.
trivia, Sudeep is a brilliant poet himself.
I thought you were giving a trivia about me. I know that you have no good trivias about me. I was a little scared. I froze, but then you said Sudhir. So that I'll hear in some time. You write in
Okay.
which language?
Hindi. I come from
Then I
Haryana.
uh, then don't say Hindi with so
That's
much I come from Haryana, and Hindi, matlab, theek hai. Oh, I also come from Bihar, so that's okay. But Haryana and Hindi I relate lesser than Bihar and Hindi, right? But I would love to read what you write.
no,
And
so
Hindi is my
because
first love. Hindi is my love language, because that's the language my parents understand. That's the only language that they speak apart from Bhojpuri. So I would really like to read what you write.
no, I had the privilege of going to a school which was affiliated with Vishwa Hindu Parishad.
Oh,
So in fact, I learned English properly after leaving my school. So
okay.
all our conversation, all our prayers, etc., was in Hindi. So I had an unfair advantage growing up in that manner.
Wow.
That's so
I
beautiful.
noticed one thing common. All three of us are from small towns.
Wow. And doing
If
so.
you think of Coimbatore as small town, yes, for sure.
Coimbatore is still a small town.
Okay, okay,
So,
I won't
Sanchika, you
argue on
touched
that.
upon this point
Yeah.
on the BMC, and you did speak about COVID-19 earlier. I know that would have been a busy period for BMC and you. Could you just tell us what happened in the COVID period? How were you supporting the BMC and citizens?
I definitely remember one point of time when we felt almost frustrated, that all of us just could not get out and go with the officials that we've been working for so long, who kind of kept calling us to office for some work or the other, and we used to get irritated. Why are they calling us so much? We can do it online. Why do we have to go to their office? There was, I think it was just karma which made us feel so bad. At one point of time, they were all working in such difficult circumstances, and we had to just be, we were not even allowed to move out. Even if we wanted, we
Wow.
could not go out to help them, but they were out there working, so religiously for the people in the city, that that day we all discussed amongst the team, and we are just like, we must do our, but if we have to only work out online, we should do something online, which brings some remarkable change in the way they are functioning and in the way they're operating. At least this burden goes off their head. So that's one discussion that we had, and that commitment we kept till the end uh, of the crisis getting over. And I think our entire team, there have been nights when we have been awake till 2, 3 in the morning just because there were beds not getting allocated. People wanted to know which shelter they could go to, or who could they contact, which hospital has bed, which hospital does not have bed. We were putting updates till very late in the night. In fact, there was a point of time when even my number was given to all the deans at the various centers that were made in the different wards. Our number were also
Hmm.
with them, because they knew that we are getting direct requests, so we did not have to tell 10 people. They showed some faith in us
Hmm.
because we really told them that we want to help you. And there were so many times that we were also talking to patients and telling them that we have found out that the bed is there. This is the person you are supposed to go there and talk to. There was a lot of work happening. And a lot of online and offline interaction and coordination is something which really did wonders. And that is why when you said that online reputation management, when you mentioned, I really think that till the time both the worlds are aligned, until there's a 360-degree kind of connect, nothing is going to work fine. My communication can't be different online, it can't be different offline. The personalities have to match. So I think that is something which
Exactly.
really helped during the COVID times, when we aligned the online or offline courses. We were all informed. We all had the phone numbers of all the wards, of all the centers, of all the COVID shelters. We had, everybody was given all the details that they needed, and we were all trying to just help each other and how to let maximum information reach to maximum people. Though of course nothing was perfect at that time, but the efforts were 100% very, very genuinely done, and that's why a lot of people got help. I think in Mumbai, in spite of so many adversities that we of course saw, but I think people did get very remarkable support from all the offices, and they were really genuinely trying to help as many people as possible.
Wow. Going on, I know you can't just breathe love and fresh air and values and honesty. And you also claim not paying salaries to your team. Do you still not charge for the work you do for the public offices? And do you also
No,
work on other brands in the private sector?
I have started working for a couple of private brands now, because I don't want to keep chasing my government offices to rush with the payments, because I know that they are trying their best to kind of bring together money to pay to the people who are working for them. But they always, it's not that they don't pay. There are some different ways in which they can, there are certain funds that are sanctioned to them. There are certain CSR initiatives that can help, which very rarely come to them, but it does come on and off. But I never go with an amount. I kind of tell them that there have been officers that I have worked for in a 10-20K also. There are officers who can also pay me about a lakh a month. There are officers who can pay me more than that. But we don't go with a tag. We tell them we want to work, because I really want to work with more and more officers. But there are 100% a lot of rumors. Once somebody from Delhi, another agency's fellow who came from Delhi to Bombay for some work, he kind of told me that a lot of people were not engaging us for work in the government organizations there also, because there's so many rumors about us. They said, ki, Sanchika, we were told that you charge a crore for an account. I said, if I charge you even a crore for one account, why would I even sit here and work with you or talk to you? But I said, this makes me feel so special. People think that I am worth all that amount, because in that world, I think
Exactly.
you're only gauged by the kind of money that you're making. Right now, if I look like a multi-million dollar woman to you, and if that's what you think about me, I'm not going to clear that rumor, because that's not affecting this country and city in general. I feel great about myself, but I know there are many messages about that, but that's not even a conversation to have, because like I said, I was working for a purpose. And of course we'll not work without money, but we'll not tell them how much they're supposed to pay us. We'll ask them how much they can pay. And then I will only work likewise. I'll only engage as many people, and I will only try, and I'll try not to pressurize them to extent that they think अब इनके साथ काम नहीं कर सकते, because losing that work will be most heartbreaking for me. So I will stretch my limits a little bit of restricting my commercial interest, and I will continue working there. That's why I said, tell all your people I am the cheapest agency. They should just give me a good purpose to work for.
That's a very altruistic way of approaching.
I don't want anybody else to work like me. I tell this to my team also, who is just not leaving me. Even I'm telling them, just go get great jobs. You have a great profile, blah blah. A lot of them have moved on and they are doing very well, and I'm very happy for them. But I think there are different ways. I want everybody to work their way, because if they work in a way which is not satisfying for them and it is not their way, I think you do you is what my team keeps saying, which I find is a very objectionable way of putting things. But they say it's the right way to say it. But I think the you do you thing is okay for the people who understand it. But you should only commit to a work that you know you can stay committed to for a long, long time. Because this coming in and coming out is also going to spoil your reputation. You will soon find out that since you are not being able to sure of what you are doing, nobody will be sure of having you on board to work with them. So this clarity, I will repeat myself again, but do a lot of pre-work than the current and post-work. Do the pre-work of clarity on this is what I want to do. This is how much I can stretch myself. This is how much time I can give to do this work. Otherwise, I should look for a plan B. I think we all should plan our lives like that. So for some time, I was working with Mr. Sunil Shetty I was consulting for them for some content, and outside his office, because he has a acquisition platform, and there were so many people who would come and stand in long queues from so many of our small towns from where all of us may be. And I would see that they were just ready to do anything to get that one role, and they would just stand the entire day in the sun. And Sunil Shetty is a great person like that. So they were not taken care of. They would be, if they are there, then they get their water and all of that would be done. But then sometimes I would see that people come in crying, and they used to think that I can also help them in getting that role and all of that. But while I was just a social media person, but me being me, I was trying to console them also, and I was just having a conversation. But and I just think whenever I saw them, I always used to think that how can they just pin their hopes in such a big industry? They must be talented, but they have to have another plan. They cannot lose hope, and they would sometimes cry so much that there's nothing we can do now. पढ़ाई लिखाई छोड़ दी, पढ़ भी नहीं रहे हैं, आगे कुछ पता भी नहीं, पापा मम्मी के पास भी कुछ नहीं है. I mean, I don't know what hopes they are living on. I think we all should know that we always should keep a plan. We don't know what's going to happen. Life is so unpredictable. I think this plan B is a great concept.
But that's the other side of life where,
Yeah,
not just with actors, I've seen a lot of startup founders
yeah, of
being
course.
very practically convinced that this is a problem I want to solve. I might fail once, I might fail twice, but as long as I genuinely believe in a problem, I will find a way to solve it. And they are not even thinking about making profits, because they know that if you make meaning, you will make money someday.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the philosophy
Yeah.
that goes with them.
The
One
same
of
thing,
the
right?
Yeah,
The downside is that people also do not know when to take a step back.
It's a very difficult decision, but you lie to the whole world. Don't lie to yourself. You come and tell him that this is a problem I'm going to solve. And he looks convinced. That's a great thing. He's got convinced. But we all know. I think all of us, we should do a bit of this self. No, you don't meditate on all that. You don't need meditation to understand that you know it, that you don't have it in you. It's not going to work.
yeah.
So someday you have to kind of move on from that. I think that's a big. I know it's a very difficult decision, but sooner we take it, the better it is. And अगर नहीं लेंगे तब तो फिर
Problem here.
भी-
One of the things that comes to my head as a question, Sanchika, is that the job that you do and your team does, how do you appraise yourselves? How do you know you are doing a good job? And if you have 10 people, how do you know which one of them is performing better than the other? What metrics do you use to appraise them so that they feel that it is objective?
I think one, get all those good people in your team. That's very important. Like I said, I've never thought, and I must confess that right now I don't do most of the writing is done by my team members. Right now, I'm not even very actively writing for them. Of course, I look at what is going. I'm the approving authority, and whenever they ask, I kind of add a bit or two of myself in it. But once you train a team that is working with you, you have to. This is the one important step back that you have to do. You cannot always think that I will write the best. or I'm my content is the best content, and I'll just talk from the content perspective because that's all I know how to do. But I can't be always thinking that what I write is the best. Sometimes I look at some of the things that my team is doing, and I know that I want to do something extra to that, but sometimes I just step back because it's good enough for that point of time.
No, which is
And
perfectly fine.
yeah,
So I love your philosophy that you give them
yeah,
their space.
yeah.
Is there a measurable way for you to judge how one employee is performing better than the other?
Yeah, of course, because for me it is very clear because I have to do a piece of content. There's no account that I have which can go without a post even a single day, right? For me, it is it's very simple. Like if I go and see on some of my accounts where I see there's not been anything for 2 3 days, then I of course go up to that person that what is going on. There's no picnic. I mean, how can your account go quiet for 3 days? There's nothing that I see. We have
Hmm.
meetings, of course, and the ideas coming up because we have social media is so dynamic that my idea that I discussed this evening could be old tomorrow morning. So the time, the kind of time management that they're doing and how much time are they responding? If there's a trend coming up, if there's cricket match going on right now, every match, every day on all accounts, I have an insurance agency that I'm working for. I have to create content for that. Electricity board, I have to do it for the pollution control board. I have to do it for police department, for two municipal corporations. So everybody has to immediately come back and who came up with it first, whose ideas are good, which is not good. It's very clear. In content space, it's not so tough. I don't know how it works for others. In content space, it's not so tough because we need ideas every day. And
Yeah.
any day that I see that one person is working for two accounts more than his or her own, I know that the people on that account are not working. Then we have to sit and have a conversation and tell them that this can't happen always. There is a writer's block. We understand, but we know for how long can we endorse that writer's block, and for how long can we just wait for that creative streak to come back. There is a deadline for it. We can't do that. And something that I do is sometimes I shuffle the accounts. Maybe they get kind of done with one, and now
Yeah.
we kind of change. I shuffle the account so somebody works on the other account for a complete week, like that. So you have to kind of just keep re-energizing or just inspiring them to how to find their ways. And I think right now in content there's not so much crisis of inspiration of what to do because every day something there's new trending on social. So your mind is so busy that you don't really get the time to think that okay, what am I going to do next. Social media itself is giving us so much to work on, but apart from that we can't wander away from the core that we are working for. You just keep focusing. We also work a lot on the response management, the call centers that you're shutting. We just keep checking on whether my call center people are not checking their accounts or not. Is there any reply which is getting missed? Are they kind of looking at that? Those are the things I monitor very closely now because I think the space that we are working in, with due respect to all the creativity that my entire team has, if they don't understand that we are here for these departments and offices which are here for the people that they serve, and if we don't notice that there's an important query that has gone unanswered even by the call center people, if we are not the ones who have brought it to their notice, then it's our work gone really, really wrong. So these are the little things that these are very easy parameters for me. I mean, I'm pretty hands-on on it. And I think everybody working for so many years, if I have not been able to assess this much in such a long time, then I should possibly assess my failures better and take that step back that I'm telling everybody else to do.
I didn't want you to take it personally, though.
No, but of course, I am heading my team. I am heading my team and I am going to take the responsibility of it. I am not shying
I'm
away
sure you
for that. So that's very important.
Brilliant stuff, Sanchika. I'm glad we did this show though, because there's so much parallel between what you're doing. Because you are the first person who's not necessarily worked on a brand in the business sense that's been on the show, and so much of what you said can be drawn in parallel to what is about building a brand. And you are building a brand in the sense for Mumbai Police or any department you're working on, you are building a brand. And I liked how you put your life values in, your business values in, and your purpose into the mix. And everybody today talks about brand values. The way you brought in your personal values into this and how you're helping other people project their brand, their personality, and the authenticity in. I mean, the best part for me was the customer care section, right? You said, "What's the harm in just talking to people?" And that is something Sudeep and I keep saying on the show, not necessarily in customer care, but even when you want to build a brand, you
Yeah.
just need to go out and talk to people. And that is basic sense of building a brand. I thought you'd cover that brilliantly.
Can I be pompous one last time because how you started this line, brand, brand. I just want to
Okay.
say that I made one thing which nobody would have thought ever in their life, that it can become a brand someday. Look at Mumbai. People talk of it as a brand, and I'm like, "Sir," I was called some time ago, and that I did not speak as well because I suddenly was feeling so lost and nothing. But I think nobody had ever thought that the police department will become such a big brand that the biggest of the brands would want to come back and collaborate with it. People chase us for collaborations and they really look up to the kind of communication we create for Mumbai Police, and they really think that through a police department, their absolutely unrelated entity could gain some leverage. So I think that's a big success. And I think when I have been able to do it with all my limited understanding, intelligence, and resources, I think anybody else can do it. I think it's just some very little things that we have to take care of. And your personality is very, very important. And it should reflect in the work that you're doing. It works. It has worked for me. It will work for everybody else. Remember the please, sorry, thank yous. Talk to people. Keep chatting. Talk sense, talk nonsense, but keep talking. There's nothing that can happen without communication. No matter which platform it is at any point of time in life, there will be a medium of communication which will be the game changer of that time. And the sooner you jump onto it, the more successful it will be for it eventually.
And don't forget, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a
That's
writer
what.
that's
talking.
a very good point.
That's a writer talking. Bringing some
No,
heavy quotes. I also know many lines, but I don't remember them at the wrong time, right time.
Yeah, I'm
Always
just
the wrong times I
paraphrasing.
drop those lines. I'll
I'm just
write. See,
paraphrasing what you earlier said. आपने 3 या 4 बार उसको दोबारा से बोला कि I'm still saying this कि शुरुआत में 6 महीने लगाए. That was all about sweating in peace, right?
so now जाते जाते you've done my
absolutely.
बेइज्जती. You said ये लड़की एक लाइन में जो बोल सकती थी, तब से 4 बार एक ही बार बोले जा रही है. So thank you
नहीं
so
नहीं.
much.
I love the fact.
I'm gonna.
I love the fact.
I got your point.
So,
I've taken it well.
What I have learned by looking at various leaders all the way around is that they will have few 3 or 4 core points, and they will make sure that they will buttress those points and make you believe in them by finding ways to talk about it over and over again. That's how you create conviction, right? That's the power of repetition. So I
correct.
actually honestly love when people make 4 or 5 big points and then keep going back at them, so that it creates solid conviction that you really want to follow it. So I meant that as a compliment.
I took it exactly as a compliment. My expressions are always
I'm
wrong.
meaning another compliment for you. I have another compliment. I like how we
And I'll
started the
die.
show.
Don't do it. It's okay.
I like how you started the show saying how humble you are. And the last point you made was saying, let me be pompous
one
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 last
more
time.
time. and
No,
One
because
more
and
I
time.
saw
and
that you're from a different space. So let me step into that space.
How can people get in touch with you?
They can just reach out to me on my social media handles. They can also mail us at hatmediaofficial@gmail.com. It's a very simple email ID. But my name is the same on all my platforms. You search for SUNCHIKPANDY Sunchika. My handle is Police Wali Public. That was one of the first campaigns that I did, #Police Wali Public, for the police, for Mumbai Police in the initial days in 2015-16. And it was a campaign of how people coming together to praise what police was doing and bringing them to share some positive stories. So after that, I just made it my handle, and I'm so glad I did it because it's become the core of my very being. So I'm at the rate Police Wali Public on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. But Sanchika Pandey is easy to find. My name is quite unique. My parents get the credit for it, thankfully. I can't take the credit for that. They spelt it wrong, but it should be SUNCHIK. They did SUNCHIK. So just use that. Otherwise, hatmediaofficial@gmail.com.
Got it. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
excellent. That this was quite nice.
Okay, I hope so.
If we had more time, I would have definitely wanted to delve into many more aspects. Maybe that should be left for another episode. But
Oh, you want to talk to me more?
oh, obviously, we
Correct.
haven't even gotten
Are you
started.
proud of me?
Very.
Did I
I don't have a
behave well?
choice, no?
Did I behave well?
But thank you so much. Now I'm ending the podcast.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Thank you for listening to COB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharavana Raghavan. Subscribe and learn more at cobcast.net. That's COBBCAST.net. cast.net.